Hello. As you can tell, I am in Taiwan. Coming from Banqiao, or Bangil in Taiwanese. This is the town that my mom grew up in, and we're just standing a couple, like a little less than 50 feet from the house that my mom grew up in. So my family planned a vacation to Taiwan. My cousins and relatives in Taiwan planned this whole thing out. We went to a bunch of different places in Taiwan, and I am going to show you some of the stuff that we did, and mostly cool birds that we saw along the way. It was not a birding trip, but I went and found some birds that were pretty cool. I'm also going to just stop and show some pretty cool things that I love about Taiwan, some interesting things that we don't have back at the States. So here we go. So we're going to start off in Banqiao. Banqiao is in the northern part of Taiwan, and as you can see, it's pretty close to Taipei. Taipei is the capital of Taiwan, it's the major city, and just outside is New Taipei. So a little to the west, the southwest, is where Banqiao is located. Welcome from Taiwan. This is my first full day in Taiwan, and I am in the city of Banqiao, where my mom grew up, and this is a park that's near her house. And we're gonna check out some of the birds that are in this park. So I don't know many of them. I know kind of what they are, but I've taken some pictures and we'll try to identify some of them when I get back home. So here we go. We have here some kind of heron. I think it's some kind of night heron. Skulking along the water here. This flew in here. I don't know if you can see that. We have here some kind of, looks like a gallinule. And in other cities were lots of doves. And the oriental turtle dove and the spotted dove are some of the most common. The black bulbul mynas are also very common. These are we have the common myna on the left and the Javan myna. Black collared starling was something that I saw every now and then. Didn't see too many of them, but beautiful. The oriental magpie robin, it's a smaller magpie-esque bird, but it's not a magpie because magpies are larger and corvids. Here we have the oriental magpie, which is a much bigger, kind of like a blue jay sized. It's a lot louder, and then a much smaller warbler-like bird called the swinhoe's white-eye. It took me a little while to find one, but once you kind of listen for them and learn their call, they're pretty much everywhere. So those are some of the birds that we saw in Banqiao. Another thing I found fascinating about Taiwan is the intersections. So they have these crazy intersections, 5, 6, sometimes even double roundabouts, and I don't know how they managed to not get into more accidents, but here's one intersection that's right outside my mom's house. This intersection right now, this is a 6-pronged intersection near my family's house. Let's see what happens when that light goes from pedestrian to go. We're going to take you to the northern part of Taiwan now, in Keelung, which is kind of this larger area in the Renai district, and we just went to a bunch of different places in there. One of the places we saw was this Geo Park, and there's a lot of really interesting rock formations, including the very famous Queen's Head rock, formed from erosion over several hundreds of years, and lots of other geologic features. On the right hand side, you can see the rocks are quite interesting and neat to see. There we saw lots of, so black kites are pretty common. They're flying around. They have this very unique forked tail. Off the coast, there are lots of different birds. I didn't see any gulls, but there were lots of terns. This was a tern that got a little closer. I could get a clearer picture of it. So a great crested tern is one larger tern that was pretty common there. And then brown boobies, also pretty common. This was a sort of clear picture of one that I saw flying by. The next place we're going to visit is the Makong Tea Farm. It is just outside of Banqiao. You take a bus there. It's not too far away. And in the tea farm, it's this lush, hilly region. The tea has to grow on hills because if it rains a lot, you don't want the ground to get too soaked or saturated with water. So the tea has to grow on hills. And this was our guide. He is the son of the owner of the tea farm. Talked to us about the history of the tea, how they grow the tea, the processing of the tea, different stages, and we tasted tea. Some of the best tea in the world is in Taiwan. It's very affordable. It tastes wonderful. In the farm, we heard and saw lots of these birds. These are light-vented bulbuls. They're kind of everywhere. Also saw a couple of raptors in the air. This is a crested serpent eagle. Per its name, it does eat snakes. The guide that we talked to, he talked to us about this time that he got bit by a snake, and it was quite painful. There was a lot of snakes in Taiwan. We didn't see any snakes, thankfully, but there are some poisonous snakes there, and the crested serpent eagle likes to eat snakes. Black eagle, this was a distant photo I got, but there's different kinds of eagles. And we also saw Taiwan barbets, which apparently they are quite frequently in different places in Taiwan. So I saw them around more and more after I saw this one in the tea farm. Now we'll move a little to the south. So we took the high-speed train from Banqiao to Taichung. Taichung is this city right here in the middle of Taiwan, and then we took a bus. After we got to Taichung, we took a bus to the Hehuanshan National Forest Recreation Area. This is in the mountain area. So now we're in the mountains. It's a lot cooler there. When we were in Taipei, it was about 90, 95 degrees, high humidity, sweating all the time. And then when we got to the mountains, it's much cooler, in the 60s and 70s, low humidity. This is a picture of the high-speed rail we took, and I'm going to show you a little clip of us going in the train. It reaches about 180 miles per hour, or about 300 kilometers per hour. So up in the mountains, we started seeing different kinds of swallows. This is an Asian house martin. There were hundreds of them just kind of flying around. There are these really cute collared bush robins. Here's a yellow-bellied bush warbler. And once you learn its call, it sounds quite funky, but it's really high-pitched, rising tone call, and then it ends in a little trill. Here's a crow with a large bill, hence the name, large-billed crow. And this is a white-whiskered laughing thrush. They came quite close to us, as you can see, looking for food. And I have a little video here I want to show you. Just gonna move a little west from the hiking spot, and our hotel was in a little town in the Renai township. And in this town. We had wonderful food as always. We had lots of great food in Taiwan, lots of vegetables, seafood, meats. At the hotel, here's some common birds that I got pictures of. So, as I said, there's lots of swallows in Taiwan. We had different martins up in the mountains. This is a gray-throated martin that was kind of flying around our hotel. Really cute, kind of like a greenish chickadee, but it's a greenback tit. So they were kind of hopping around looking for bugs and fruits. These birds made lots of sounds, and the steers Leosichla, and they were kind of hard to find at first, but then because in the morning they would just be singing everywhere. These are also very noisy birds, white-eared cibias. This is not the greatest picture, but the best picture I could get of a collared finchbill that was also hanging around. Some finches, these are brown bullfinches. I found a little group of them on a wire in the morning. And then this rufous-faced warbler. Also, white wagtail. So this was on the dirt, bobbing its tail, and just per its name, wagtail. The next place we'll visit is Sun Moon Lake. It is the largest body of water in Taiwan. So here we are at Sun Moon Lake. It is a beautiful morning. The sun has not risen yet, but there are people out on the water. So at Sun Moon Lake, there were a lot of different types of things. Eastern cattle egrets, they are pretty much everywhere in Taiwan, everywhere we went. Came across Morrison's fulvetta, very tiny bird, likes to hop around, look for bugs. This is a white-bellied green pigeon, just happened to see kind of off in the distance on top of a branch. You can take a gondola over the mountains. It's a very long gondola, and ride it to the Aboriginal village. So here's a little video of the gondola ride.
Oh, wow.
At the Aboriginal village, you can learn about the different tribes in Taiwan, some of the culture there, and they have some traditions. They have some people there leading classes, and it's a lot of fun. We're gonna move a little southwest now, and we stayed overnight in a town, a large city called Jiayi. Jiayi, some more city birds. So there I saw more doves, red-collared doves. Really cool Asian glossy starlings. They have different kinds of starlings in Taiwan. And if you move a little east now, and so we spent a good chunk of time at Alishan National Forest Recreation Area. Alishan is a very famous mountain, and it's in the mountain ranges, and there's a lot of forest there. See the moon. We're hearing lots of steers, Leosichla, I think that's how it's pronounced. A couple of white-eared cibias. In Alishan, got to see lots of different things. This includes the main recreation area, and we also took a little trail, a big trail, to Linji Mountain. And so some of the birds that we saw along the way were this Taiwan barwing, Eurasian jays were around, black-throated tit, really cute birds, move around a lot. This gray-chinned minivet, really bright colored, top of Linji Mountain. It's Jade Mountain over there. Perfect day. Way up by the top of Mount Linji, there was this Taiwan fulvetta, and then this Eurasian nutcracker also was flying around up there. Finally, this ferruginous flycatcher. There's quite a few of those around. The final leg of our journey on the bus trip was in Tainan. Tainan is the southwestern part of Taiwan. And in Tainan, we went to check out a couple different things. We saw Anping, also in Chigu. So in Chigu, there was the oyster farm. They can farm oysters there because there's a sandbar and the waters within this sandbar region, and so there's not many waves. This was a great egret in the oyster farm, which I thought was a kind of a picturesque view of that. And then, of course, when you have oysters, you have to have oyster omelets. So this is an oyster omelet on the left, very tasty. On the right is tofu pudding shaved ice, also very tasty. I think this one didn't have shaved ice in it, but tofu pudding was also very popular and something that was highly recommended to us. In Anping, which is within Tainan, Fort Zeelandia is there. And if you didn't know, the Dutch were some of the first to colonize Taiwan. So we got to learn a little bit of the history of that. And the Tainan night market, which is very famous, very busy, very packed, lots of fried things there, lots of delicious vegetables, and someone filling in some desserts. So let's talk about some of the birds in this area now. So we have the chestnut-tailed starling, something we saw in the park. Black-winged stilts. There are some shorebirds around. There's actually quite a few shorebirds. We didn't find many places in all of our adventures, not many shorebirds, but black-winged stilts were kind of all over the place. Kentish plovers. When we were on our oyster ride, we saw some Kentish plovers on the sand. Azure-winged magpies. This was taken at the Fort Zeelandia. White-rumped shama, which was something I saw earlier, but this is the best view we got of them. And I have a little video of one singing. Another thing I loved about Taiwan, which I'll miss dearly, is the 7-Elevens. The 7-Elevens in Taiwan are jam-packed with so many snacks, as well as hot food options. You can actually get hot food options there, and then they will heat them up for you in the microwave. So I'm going to take you a little tour of the 7-Eleven in Tainan. So after all our bus travels in the south, we took a high-speed train back to Taipei, and then we rode to Yilan. So in Yilan, there was a cultural village, and we got to see lots of drumming. We saw traditional pulling candy. So this is pulling sugar candy. We saw a Taiwanese puppet show. So lots of things just outside the cultural park. So right outside the cultural village, there is a wetland. And so my wife and I kind of snuck away to look for some birds. And the first thing we saw right away was this cinnamon bittern kind of sitting there. This bird here, a Taiwan scimitar babbler, was hopping around near some houses, and got a quick picture of this. Pretty cool bird. Plain prinias are also they like the wetlands and the reeds. Saw our first waterfowl. So eastern spot-billed duck was kind of hanging out. Little grebe. Not quite a waterfowl bird, but kind of like a chicken. So a white-breasted water hen was walking around. Saw some of those things. And so after our trip to Yilan, take us all the way back to where we first started, back in Banqiao, I took a trip down to this area right up here. This is the wetland. They constructed some wetlands by the river, and you can see here, this is the Xinhai third phase wetland. I guess there's two other phases, which I need to go visit sometime when I get back to Taiwan. but they have this really cute picture of a greater painted snipe. But there I saw yellow bittern, and they were really cute. They're hopping around and flying. I have a little video for you to show you here. The yellow bittern. Really cool. So there you have it. That's our tour of Taiwan. Thank you for watching. And I just want to give a special thanks to my family. I love them all, especially thanks to the ones in Taiwan who planned all this out for us. And if you get a chance, I really encourage you to go to Taiwan someday. It is wonderful there. The food is great. The people are very welcoming. And there's lots of nature to see, the mountains, the ocean, the wildlife. As I learned to say in Taiwanese, 我要去外口的吹甲看鸟啊，多谢多谢. I'm going to go outside to look for and see birds. Thank you, thank you.